and welcome back to the Dark Souls playthrough. We left off last where I had just done the early game preparations, and now we're heading into the Undead Burg to take down the game's first real, I guess, official boss, the Taurus Demon. The enemies that you're going to encounter here are pretty trivial, and they're actually pretty useful later in the game for testing out the damage of weapons that you gain and upgrade as you go along, because they have little armor and put up little struggle. The first time I played through this game, I actually had a lot of trouble here just because this fire guy is kind of an asshole, but as a sorcerer, you know, everything's really just trivial, with especially with the catalyst that I just picked up. It's going to do great damage with poking, as well as shooting my spells. For the most part, when there's big open areas, I try to do backstabs as often as I can. It's not always possible, but that's going to be the most effective method of killing enemies, because again, it does the most damage. Fuck you! Now across the walkway here, or there's a little ledge, and if you can make this jump, you have to sprint at it and then press the run button again to do a jump. And there's a ring of sacrifice over here, and these rings are useful if you know that you're gonna die, or if you just want to protect yourself. If you put those on, when you die, you won't lose your humanity or your souls, which is really useful. There's some parts in the game where you just know you're gonna die. The game requires it, so putting that on means that you won't lose any items. The most effective strategy I've found throughout the game's entirety is to usually just stand there with your shield out and wait for an enemy to strike before you strike. If you don't know what to expect, it will allow you to learn your enemy, but for the most part, when they strike and they hit your shield, it's going to throw them off balance, almost guarantee you a time to retaliate and get a successful hit without worrying about being hit yourself. Now there's kind of it's not really a secret area, I guess it kind of is right here, where you burst through these barrels and fall down, and you're going to find some extra souls, a couple extra enemies, and I think a humanity up the way as well. You can also start to see here why thrust weapons are so useful in the game, because in lots of the areas where there's really tight spaces, stabbing your weapon forward is really easy. If you were to use a swing, it would hit on the wall, and you might hit your enemy, but more likely than not, it would bounce off the wall, dealing no damage and throwing yourself off balance to not be able to hit him again. These enemies kind of come off as trivial, but the first time I played through this, they can actually be kind of pains in the asses, especially when there's a whole bunch of them on the screen. I may run into that later where there's a bunch of them, and they can really just beat the shit out of you if there's a bunch of them. Oh, hi there! Hi there, little feller! Now there's a guy up here who's shooting a crossbow at you while you've got to deal with the guys coming in at melee range. For the sorcerer, again, it's not much of a problem because you have a ranged weapon, and because I have a pretty good shield. If you have just the starting shield here, the arrows will still penetrate through it and deal some damage to you. So that's one of the reasons that we went and picked up the good shield from the start. Now, if we hadn't gone and grabbed that dragon shield early on, this wooden shield would have been at least a better upgrade. I believe it's got a 93 or a 95 or 97% physical damage block, which is pretty useful. Now, these guys, for the sorcerer, are pretty easy to kill, but what you'd normally do if you're a melee character is you would walk up to them and they're going to hold their shield up and strike you with the spear the whole time. You kind of just have to stand there with your shield down and wait for them to strike and then pop it up. And if you put your shield up at the right time, it's going to bounce their spear off and you'll be able to get your hits in.
Well, you seem...
This is a vendor, the first vendor that you run into, I believe. And the only thing that's really worth purchasing at this time is the residence key. And the reason we're going to do that is because a little bit later on we're going to run into a door that is locked that requires that key. And inside is a sorcerer who will eventually sell us some much better spells than we have now. And then kind of start us on a quest chain to get the best spells in the game. This is about where I'm realizing how powerful that catalyst is when I press the R2 button. Now across this way here is a crossbow that you can pick up, so you have to sprint and then jump to get to it. And now we've pretty much cleared out the first half of this level. We've come to the first bonfire, which again is going to reset all the enemies, as well as create a new spawn point for us whenever we die. I'm going to take the opportunity to use all the souls that I've gathered so far, and start to level up some statistics. Now I also use a couple humanities here again, one to bring myself back to human form, and then another one to kindle the fire, which is going to allow me to get 10 Estus flasks every time that I rest at this bonfire from the rest of the game out. Now I'm going to run across this bridge here, and the guys are throwing fire bombs down at me, so you want to hold your shield up and just keep moving, because if you stop, you're going to get hit by them, and then you'll get staggered a bit. A couple enemies are in this room, they'll come at you, and then there's going to be another guy that comes through the door, so you got to be kind of quick on taking them all out. There's another guy waiting for me in this room, and then around the corner in the next room is a treasure chest with some black fire bombs that come in pretty handy later on for a big armored boar that we're going to fight. It's a consumable item like the Estus flask, so you can equip them like you do with the souls as well, and use them with the square button. These are the firebomb fuckers that were lobbing firebombs down on me before, and again, as a sorcerer, it's just super easy. Melee classes would get something like this, where they're going to throw the firebombs as you come into melee range, and then there's just a lost soul up here. Again, playing as a sorcerer is just so easy with all the range, especially in the entire game. If you level up properly, it just makes it really easy. Now, using the residence key, or if you had the master key that you started with, you can open that door. And in here is 3 gold resins, and these put a lightning enchant on your main weapon as long as there's no enchant on your weapon already, which is really useful in defeating armored foes, especially the Taurus Demon, which is the first boss in this level. Now here's a spear guy again, and like I said, you want to hold your shield down and then pop it up right when he strikes you to let you get a strike in. Now up the stairs here is a skeleton who's going to roll a flaming barrel down at you, so you kind of just run up and then turn around real quick to avoid it. What I just did there was I unequipped items out of my usable inventory, so the only thing I have equipped is the Estus flask and those gold resins, because the boss is up here and I don't want to be cycling through my items while I fight him. Also, behind these barrels here is a little white twinkling thing. I don't know what the hell they're called, but they'll run away from me, and if you catch them, they'll give you some rare Titanites, and these are the items that are used to upgrade your gear. And the ones given by these little white glowy dudes are kind of the rarer ones, the ones that are tough to find, the twinkling Titanites. Once you kill them once, they won't respawn though, so that's it. Now here's the first boss, and it's on a long walkway, and what you want to do is turn around immediately and go up onto this tower, because there's 2 archers, and you're going to take them out first. And then we're going to use this tower to our advantage as we fight the boss, because if you remember the boss that I fought in the Undead Asylum, where I lunged down from above on top of him, we're going to do that same tactic, only we're going to put the gold pine resin on our weapons and do it to inflict a lot more damage. Now again, I'm playing the sorcerer, and I don't have a very good melee weapon yet, so this boss is a little bit tricky for me, but he's still not too bad. So what we do is you run up and you wait to see him jump down, and right when he jumps down, you sprint your ass back to the ladder and climb up. Now put on the gold pine resin and jump down and fuck this dude up. Now you're going to want to make sure to untarget him so that you can run by him easier. If you have him targeted automatically and you try to run by, it doesn't always work out nicely. Also, now we're going to turn around and run past him. You're going to want to make sure that you don't have him targeted again, because again, it makes it tougher to run past him. Then we're just going to rinse and repeat. balls. Oh, embarrassing. Fucking owned by the easiest boss in the game. We'll just go in double time here to catch up and try this bitch again. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck your mom. Fuck your sister. Eat a dick. Alright, let's see how this goes this time. Motherfucker. A lot of people don't know how to do that sliding down the ladder move. You actually don't push any buttons except for circle. You don't push down or anything, so there you go. Just press circle. Here I decided to get a couple extra stabs in. It looked like it worked a lot better that time. There we go. He's not that hard. I can't believe I died on him. That's like the first time I've died on this boss since ever. Anyway, you get a humanity and a homeward bone. Again, the homeward bones are used to teleport you back to the bonfire you rested at last, and then the humanities again give you humanity for reviving yourself or kindling bonfires. Now there's one little hidden soul up here in these boxes, and that's about it. Now up ahead here is Knight Solaire. He's an NPC who gives you the white summon stone, which allows you to basically allow yourself to become summoned into other players' games.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Solaire of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. You find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time. Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you. I have a proposition, if you have a moment. The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey? This pleases me greatly. Well then, take this. We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind.
He's also a really useful NPC, as he'll put his summon sign down in front of a series of bosses in the game, and I'm going to use him a bunch. Now here a fucking dragon flies overhead, so you just want to juke yourself out to make an appearance. The dragon's going to kill everything on the bridge, but if you were out there, you'd get totally barbecued. And now you're just going to want to run out with your shield out and sprint straight ahead, and there's going to be a little nook on the left-hand side that he won't shoot flames at. And if you get up there quick enough, he's not going to hit you. Now right across me is a stairway, and if you sprint across that before the dragon shoots his fire, there's actually a passage right here with a ladder, and we're going to kick the ladder. And this is a shortcut then that takes us back down to the bonfire that we were just resting at. So it's kind of an easy way to get all the way up here without killing all those enemies again. Now what we're going to do this time is we're going to go back to that little nook that we were in before, and we're going to get the dragon to come down onto the bridge, and then we're going to run by him. Now you don't have to go this way. There's a way that you can go underneath him that's a little less risky, but if you want to get the next bonfire, you have to go this way. You can also attempt to cut off this dragon's tail, which you could do from below with bow and arrow, and there's plenty of videos on YouTube that show how to do that. They give a sword called the Drake Sword, which is really powerful this early in the game. I'm not going to use it because I don't need it at all. You can also try and cut the tail off here if you're feeling ballsy, but I'm just going to run past him and get the bonfire. Now this area here, you can't see it right now, but it's where you would join the Brotherhood of Sunlight Covenant, or the Sun Bros as the internet called them, and they're primarily for faith-based characters or clerics, paladins, because there's a requirement that you have to have a certain amount of faith to join them, or you have to help a certain amount of people by getting summoned into their game and helping them kill a boss. And when you join them, it turns your summon sign into a gold color. And you get a lightning bolt spell, which is pretty awesome. Typically, every time I get to a new bonfire, I use a couple humanities so that I can kindle and reverse my hollowing, so that I can get the 10 Estus Flasks again. I'm also going to level up a bit here. Now I actually leveled up a couple points into attunement there, which unlocked another spell slot for me, so now I can have up to 4 spells. Granted, I only have Solaire right now, but I can have up to 4 at a time, which is really important for sorcery. And I'm going to eventually level that stat up to 19, which will give me 5 spell slots. Now, instead of going on to the next section or the next boss, I'm going to try and do something a little unconventional here. If I backtrack back towards the Taurus Demon, back by that little twinkling white dude that I killed, there's another door that we could take that'll take you down to an enemy called Havel. And he is a big motherfucker with huge armor and a huge dragon tooth weapon who will totally rape your face, and you're not supposed to go to him this early. But if you kill him, you get a ring that really lets you wear a lot heavier armor. So I'm going to try and go and get that. Not that I need it, but I wanted to accept the challenge at least as a sorcerer. Now, you always have to be careful on this bridge because the dragon can pretty much come at any time, and he does, and he'll barbecue your ass, so try to get off of it as quickly as you can. Now the door is just up ahead here, to the left, and you have to have the master key for that. Luckily I took it, and that's why I always say that you should take the master key on new characters when you play them. Oh, I guess I'm not going after Havel yet. There's actually a Black Knight up here that I missed. And when you kill him, there's a ring behind him, and since I don't have any rings, I'm going for it. The ring basically allows it, when you get below like 10% health or whatever, it gives you a whole bunch of extra armor, so it's pretty valuable. Now this knight he's an asshole. He's pretty tough to fight early in the game. As a sorcerer, it's not really any easier because, well, he throws down a fucking ass beating. You basically want to try to get backstabs on him and just circle around him and keep yourself healed and running away a lot. Yeah, he hits real hard. But these are basic techniques that you can use on lots of enemies. Just keeping your shield up and rolling and dodging attacks, backing up so that you can use your Estus Flask. Just basic stuff. And there we go, he's dead. He's going to give me a Titanite chunk, which is a useful component for upgrading gear. Now, I just equipped that Ring of Sacrifice because I know I'm going to go up against Havel now, and I don't know the outcome, and I don't want to lose those 2,000 souls yet, so if I die with that equipped, I won't lose my souls, or my humanity, which I don't have any right now anyway. And here he is. Now, the strategy to beating this guy is to basically keep your shield up the whole time and to run in right at him and then strafe around him so that he misses you and try to get the backstabs. I'm having a really tough time getting the backstabs, which is really unfortunate. If he hits you with that thing, it's pretty much guaranteed you're going to die. I'm hitting him for a whopping 8 damage, which is pretty fucking impressive. Oh, fucking dead like a bitch. The beauty of editing, I fast forwarded through all the stupid shit, and we'll try this motherfucker again. Haven't got a single crit on this dude yet. Things are just not going well. fucking... Nope, fuck this guy. I don't need his ring. I'm just not even gonna fuck with this dude. So, fuck it. If you enjoyed this, stay tuned for the Undead Parish with the Gargoyle fight and the Capra Demon.